Somewhere in your house right now, there's probably a valve just like this one. Old, stiff, maybe already dripping. And here's the part that surprises most people. You almost never need to replace it. What you're about to see took less than the price of a coffee, used parts most people throw in the trash, and fixed a leak that plumbers usually solve with a full valve swap, costing anywhere from $40 to over $100. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why that leak started in the first place, and why the fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Let's talk about the problem first, because it's more common than people realize. A water shutoff valve sits quietly under your sink or near your water heater for years, doing its job without complaint. Then one day you notice a slow drip, maybe a damp patch on the cabinet floor, maybe a faint hiss when the valve is half closed. The instinct is always the same. Call a plumber, get a quote, and brace for the cost of a full replacement. But a full valve replacement means shutting down the water line, sometimes cutting into copper pipe, sometimes even opening drywall depending on where the valve sits. It's disruptive, it's expensive, and here's the frustrating part. Most of the time, the valve itself isn't actually broken. It's one tiny internal part that's failed, and everything around it is perfectly fine. So what's really going on inside that valve? This is where it gets interesting. Valves like this don't fail because the metal wears out. Brass and steel can last decades. They fail because of small rubber components tucked deep inside, parts most homeowners have never seen and never think about. These seals are the actual barrier between dry cabinet and water damage, and they're often the cheapest, most overlooked piece of the entire assembly. Once you know that, the whole idea of tossing out a solid metal valve because of one worn-out rubber ring starts to feel almost wasteful. To understand why this happens, it helps to go back to how these ball valves were designed in the first place. The ball valve mechanism itself is a surprisingly old idea, refined over the 20th century as plumbing moved away from older gate valves that were prone to seizing and leaking at the stem. Engineers landed on a rotating ball with rubber seals pressed against it from either side. Simple, reliable, and easy to manufacture. The trade-off was that the rubber, unlike the metal ball and housing, was never meant to last forever. It was designed as a wear part, similar to brake pads on a car. The problem is that nobody tells homeowners that. The valve gets sold, installed, and forgotten, and the idea that it has a built-in expiration date buried inside it never comes up. So why does this little seal fail, and why does replacing it actually work? Picture the rubber seal as a tiny gasket sandwiched under constant pressure, day and night for years. Every time water moves through the valve, there's friction and pressure acting on that rubber. Over time, heat, mineral content in the water, and simple age cause the material to lose its elasticity. It hardens, and once rubber hardens, it cracks. Once it cracks, it can no longer press tightly enough against the metal ball to stop water from sneaking through. It's the same reason an old rubber band snaps instead of stretching. The metal parts around it are still doing their job perfectly. It's just that one soft component that's given out. Replace that one part, restore the seal, and the whole system works exactly as it did on day one. Now here's the part that explains why this isn't common knowledge. Full valve replacement is simply more profitable and more convenient for the plumbing trade than diagnosing and rebuilding an old one. A new valve is a fixed price job. Buy it, install it, done. Disassembling an old valve to identify a worn seal takes time, care, and a bit of patience, and time is money in any service trade. There's no grand conspiracy here, just simple business logic. Replacing is faster to, quote, faster to bill, and less likely to bring a customer back with a complaint if something goes wrong. On top of that, seal kits for many older or import valves are hard to source, which pushes both professionals and hardware stores towards simply selling a whole new unit. It's less that the industry is hiding a secret, and more that convenience quietly won out over repair. But this kind of internal seal repair isn't some fringe idea. Machinists and industrial maintenance techs use almost identical logic on hydraulic and pneumatic valves that are far too expensive to simply throw away. While a large industrial ball valve can cost thousands of dollars, so replacing a 50-cent seal instead of the entire unit isn't optional, it's standard practice. Old school plumbers who trained before the throwaway culture took over often kept a small tin of spare washers and seals in their toolbox for exactly this reason. What you're doing at home is really just borrowing a habit that used to be common sense in the trade before convenience took over. So let's walk through how this actually comes together, step by step, so you can picture doing it yourself. Start by carefully removing the retaining clip or cap that holds the valve body together. If it's stuck with old adhesive or corrosion, a little gentle heat from a hairdryer or heat gun will loosen it without damaging the metal. Once it's open, you'll see the ball mechanism sitting inside and tucked around it, the rubber seals, responsible for actually stopping the water. Take a close look at their surface. Cracking, flattening, or a hardened, brittle texture is your confirmation that these are the culprits. From here, the fix is almost creative. An old bicycle inner tube is ideal for cutting a replacement seal because that rubber is flexible, thin, and durable. And most people have one lying around or can grab one for free from a bike shop that's tossing out old tubes anyway. Lay the damaged seal flat on the rubber as a template, trace around it carefully, and cut just slightly on the outside of your line. You can always trim more, but you can't add material back. Take your time here. A seal that's even slightly oversized will bunch up and fail to seat properly. So patience matters more than speed. If there's a second, smaller seal involved, something like a hard plastic cap from an old battery casing, can sometimes be resized to fit a smaller gap. Proof that half the parts for this repair are probably already sitting in a drawer somewhere in your house. Once your new pieces are cut and fitted, wrap the threaded connections in fresh sealing tape. Reassemble everything in the reverse order you took it apart and turn the water back on slowly. Of course, this isn't a fix for every situation, and it's worth being honest about the limits. If the metal body of the valve itself is cracked, corroded through, or the ball mechanism is scored and pitted, no amount of new rubber will save it. At that point, replacement really is the right call. This method also works best on standard household shutoff valves, not on specialized or high-pressure systems, where a proper manufacturer's seal kit is strongly recommended instead of improvised materials. And always turn off the main water supply before attempting anything like this, and test slowly, rather than all at once, to catch problems early instead of flooding a cabinet. If you're ever unsure, it's always smarter to pause and consult someone experienced rather than guess. At the end of the day, this comes down to something bigger than one valve. So much of what gets thrown away around a house isn't actually broken. It's one small, cheap, replaceable part away from working perfectly again. The moment you start looking at things that way, throw it out and buy new stops being the default answer, and what's actually failing here becomes the first question you ask. That single shift in thinking can save you money for years on far more than just plumbing. If you're curious to see where a fix like this could take you next, I'm Taslim, and this is Hidden Fix Lab.